Welcome to today's episode. I'm really excited to be sharing an interview with an incredible pianist, producer, and composer, Sam Best, who goes under the artist name The Vernon Spring. I was lucky to have met Sam over 10 years ago, and I was deeply touched by the way he approaches both life and music in a deeply sensitive and intuitive way. He has worked with a wide range of musicians, including being a longtime collaborator with Amy Winehouse, collaborating with Kano, Matthew Herbert. He has his own record label, Limo Limo Records, and now producing and touring his solo works. If you don't know his music already, definitely go and have a listen. And in recent years, he has expressed an interest in understanding the North Indian vocal form more. And so through that, I have shared some lessons with him to help him understand the form and to develop a vocal practice, which has been an incredible honor to witness and be a part of. And I thought it would be really interesting to hear more about his artist journey and what has led him to where he is now. And so I look forward to sharing this, and I would love to hear how you found it and if you had any questions. Take care. Okay, so welcome, Sam. Thank you for joining. I wanted to have a conversation with you about music and your approach to music and your influences. I've always loved hearing you playing live and listening to your recordings. So I think one of the first questions I was thinking of is I read that you had a lot of music in your home growing up, and you started playing when you were about 10, is that correct?
So I started playing kind of when I was 5, was the story that I used to tell, or that when people ask. I think that is true. My parents, well, the story that I was told is that when I was about 3, there was a sort of toy drum kit in the house, like just some basic toy drum kit. And my dad or my mum, I can't remember who, felt that I was being a bit kind of playing in time, or I don't know, showing some signs of musicality. But I think they couldn't. The drum kit felt too expensive and maybe too big for a 3-year-old or whatever at the time. But I think a friend was offering a piano for really cheap. This is all kind of blurring into one. That must have happened a bit later, because it was around the age of 5 that this piano arrived in our house. Which was the same piano that I had until I was in my mid-teens, by which point I was completely obsessed with music. It was quite a rickety old piano. Every day when I was a teenager, I'd have to sort of fix it a little bit. The pedal would always stop working, and then you'd have to really kind of get underneath it and sort of get it to work again. But yeah, that was the piano that I had since I was 5, but I really didn't have a connection to music at that stage. Didn't feel like a personal connection. My parents, I remember, they did have to really cajole me into kind of just doing a basic bit of practice, sort of keep me with it. I was like, a lot of other young kids, I just wanted to play football. I was more interested in football and other things, really. But then when I was 11, which is probably what you had read or remembered saying, I switched teachers. My dad saw this advert in our local music shop for someone was advertising jazz lessons, local musician. This guy, Phil Dawson, who was my first teacher, who introduced me to improvisation. He is a great jazz guitarist. He's actually really a guitarist, but knew enough keyboards to sort of get me started. And something clicked in me from the first lesson, really. I remember him showing me the pentatonic scale, and whereas up until that point everything was about notation, and kind of I'm not a very good person with notation. It's not really, it's not really my wave of music. In my first lesson there was no notation. It was just about showing me this pentatonic scale and saying, play around, do what you want with it. And it just opened up this whole universe for me, because my upbringing in the home was my dad's record collection was very eclectic, but it was, the heart of it was I suppose Black American music, like jazz music, soul music. That was his deepest passion. I feel, even though he also loved Beethoven and Bob Dylan and like Joni Mitchell and loads of other things, and you know, he was the sort of person that would go through obsessive periods of listening to different people, and that was quite diverse. You know, sometimes quite avant-garde classical music. Sometimes it was like Bertolt Brecht and like Kurt Weill and like theatre music, and sometimes it was Dylan. Like he would listen to the whole Dylan back catalogue, and often it was
Wow.
obviously jazz and soul he knew a lot about. But anyway, I feel like when I was shown this pentatonic scale and given permission to just sort of mess around with music from using my ears, I suddenly had access to all this stuff that was almost waiting in the wings for me to, that was already in me, I think, but I didn't have a way into it through notation and this other way that I was learning. Even though that other way of learning definitely set a foundation from which I could do something with the pentatonic scale.
Yeah.
But it was really from that point where something clicked in me, and my parents didn't have to ask me anymore to practice. I just wanted to do it, you know, and did it more and more and more. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So, because what always has struck me when you play, you have such a defined style. Like it's so when you hear your music, you know it's you, which is such a
Oh
gift.
wow, that's amazing.
And so, do you feel like? I mean, of course, it's an evolving thing, our expression. But do you feel like from that first lesson that kind of like you were saying, you had all this music that was already there that just needed to be expressed? Do you feel that connection to your expression was like ready from a young age, or it's something that's continuously moving?
Oh, it's difficult to say, but I definitely, I mean, you know, I was. It took a long time for me to just get to grips with some basic things, you know. So but it definitely connected me to something that was like an innate passion or something, you know,
Yeah.
like a sense of something that I was, yeah, deeply connected to, from which you just keep turning up to that. And but yeah, it's amazing. A few people have said that to me recently, that you know, that something comes on and they know it's me, you know, and that's such an incredible compliment for me. I don't know, growing up with the background that I had, where I always just hero worshipped people. Part part of the admiration of people like, I don't know, any of my childhood heroes, like, you know, Miles Davis or Nina Simone or anybody that you could mention, really. It's, yeah, that they have such a sort of distilled voice, you know, that it's so sort of personal to them, and they've developed such a kind of close relationship to music. I don't know, it's quite a mysterious thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's incredible that, you know, as soon as someone comes on that has reached those sorts of levels, it's you know, instantly that it's them, even though it could be two saxophone players that are playing the same instrument. You just know, oh, that's John Coltrane or that's Wayne Shorter.
Yeah.
Even though the tools are very similar. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not, you know, I personally still feel like I'm right at the beginning. So it seems like but it's nice that other people noticing that in when they hear me, or like that they can sort of hear a voice developing anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. And your artist name, how did that come about?
Kind of through accident and just life developing, but there is some rhyme or reason to it in that so yeah, some strange serendipitous things. My so Vernon, oh here, so I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So so my granddad on my dad's side, my dad's dad was an author, a I think it's fair to say a failed author. He wasn't particularly successful, but he did get a few books published.
Mhm.
So yeah, and his name was Vernon. I'm not sure what the R is for now. Actually, is it? I should know that. I think it's. But anyway, I should know that. But I always knew him as Vernon. So, but he died when I was 3, so I didn't really have a relationship with him. But he, my dad's middle name was also Vernon, and my middle name is Vernon. So it's kind of
Oh,
passed down
right.
through all
Okay.
the male side of my family. So there's that. But then my mum was also born in. She's actually, so her parents are German, but after the Second World War, they left Germany and had this opportunity to go to Canada and sort of start a new life. And she was born in this small village called Vernon in British Columbia in Canada.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, she was born in this village called Vernon, and my dad's dad was called Vernon, and so I always had that as a sort of a significant name that linked me to both my parents.
Yeah.
And then I always loved names, like band names that depicted that seemed to sort of evoke a scene. I think originally Arcade Fire was called The Arcade Fire. I think if you look at like early records that they released, even some of their later records, I think sometimes it still says The Arcade Fire, even though everyone thinks of them now as just Arcade Fire as their name. But that was always one of my favorite band names because I could see a scene in my mind. It was like I could see this arcade burning, and that I don't know, it had this sort of poetic feeling to it that it evoked a feeling, but also a sense of story and mystery, so I was sort of interested in finding a name that had that kind of a feeling. And then I guess there's sort of multiple layers to the meaning of spring. It's like renewal, new beginnings, but also has a political slant because it can be linked to revolution and a change in a radical change in society or something.
Yeah.
Obviously we had the Arab Spring, and I was in my early 20s, I guess, when that was happening, and that all fed into it in a way. But so in my mind, it's not, people often call me Vernon Spring. It's not meant to be a name. It's meant to be a kind of event. It's meant to be like this imaginary event.
Okay.
In an imaginary place where new things are happening, something like that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know, like, I probably shouldn't say so much. People should make their own thing. But that's what, but in my mind, it has all those kind of aspects. And it's not meant to be a person, really. It's meant to be a coming together of something,
Right.
something happening. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. I did not know that. That's super interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so Indian music, that's something that has connected us.
Yeah.
And so I'd love to know, is that something that you've listened to from when you were younger? How has it influenced or impacted you as a musician in your day-to-day world? Because I know it's something that we talk about quite a lot. So I'd just love to hear more about that.
Yeah. So I guess, again, I had some introduction to it as a kid, but not much through my dad. In one of his obsessive phases, he definitely had a Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan obsession.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
And got several of his records, and that was what was constantly playing in the house. Like whenever he went through these phases, he would often play music very loud. He had this office at the top of the house, and it would just be kind of bellowing through the house. And
oh, wow.
So it was sort of, yeah, that was always happening. And I did listen to Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan a lot at that point as well. I often kind of, tuned in with what my dad, and he was intentionally filtering it through to me, really. He was consciously trying to kind of educate me, I think. And yeah, so there was that. But other than that, nothing really comes to mind. Honestly, I feel like when it came to us exploring singing together and you being my singing teacher, that kind of evolved from us meeting through making music in a way.
Yeah.
And me having an interest in singing, but not really finding a connection, kind of similar to what I was saying before. Like, finding the right teacher is so pivotal. Me finding that guy, when Phil Dawson, when I was 11, really opened up so much for me. And I feel like it's been quite similar, honestly, with you with singing, even though singing I think singing, honestly, will forever be, for me, something that I have I don't know what the right word is, but a different relationship to than with the piano. It's like something that I feel like I'm always at the beginning with singing. And also because I've been having, well, yeah, but
no, but I get you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something
It's
about
different.
it. It's different.
Yeah.
There's something about it. I think also because I've had some health issues. It's very stop-starty, and I feel like I'm always starting from the start, even though everything that we've been doing together has been so helpful. But I guess what really drew me, what I felt an immediate connection with our lessons, is this multiple things, but it's this feeling that it's connected to an ancient tradition, of using, of connecting with the voice as a human being. It's, I love the ritualistic aspect of it, you know, that and I like that, you know, when we did that 2-day singing retreat, it was, you know, the fact that you can sing the same note for half an hour is really up my street, basically. I really love that kind of that sense of discipline and also doing it together. I mean, when we started lessons, I did start with that. You know, I don't know if you remember, like, me being really into the fact that I just want to sing.
You want to just sing Sa, yeah.
I just want to sing Sa for, like, let's just do that for half a year, and then you were wanting to go at, you know, at a bit more of a pace, which is fair enough. And I sort, you know, obviously ultimately completely trust that, but I loved that aspect of it. That it feels very connected to health within your body, and I don't know, and spirituality. And I remember you saying in that 2-day thing that your guru, you know, says that you don't, if you really study singing, you don't need another religious context. This could be your religion. You know, this can be the place where you have a relationship with the divine, basically, you know, which is not my experience of singing so far. I feel like I'm way at the start, you know, but I guess that also, even just having contact with those kinds of concepts is something that connects to a longing within myself, and something that I'm really fascinated by, and something that I didn't really have such a direct contact or form for in my education. So it's linking into my musicianship in general, having, you know, being in contact with that kind of a tradition. And then I suppose, it's wonderful for me as well, in the sense that it's, I feel in a new space of unknown again, like, with music, you know, because I know so little about Indian music, in terms of the scales and the way of approaching music, or so many different aspects of it. But that it's an exciting feeling of just, you know, learning again, from something where I'm right at the start. And also that it's I don't know, there seems to be this mixture of almost like Western classical music and improvisational music. You know, that there's improvisation involved, but it's still very structured. And phenomenally technically challenging, and, you know, so it's a different form of that, you know, jazz in many ways is that as well, in the American context, you know, it's improvised but also very technically challenging. And, you know, but Indian music is a different, or the sort of Indian music that we've been studying is a different form of that. So that's fascinating to me as well. That's probably enough.
Amazing. No, super interesting. And it kind of leads on to another conversation that we've had about habits and how phones and technology impact us in terms of, like, mood, creativity, musicianship, sleep, all of these things. And I know that you have spoken about being very disciplined, like, you've become very disciplined about phone use and all of those things. Was that something that you found quite easy to do, or was it just from a place of, like, I just want to feel better, or, like, how do you approach it?
I suppose I've always had that a little bit, to be honest. This kind of, I've always been felt the need to have discipline in my life. I think because I developed such a kind of strong relationship with music at a young age, where you have this understanding that you want to spend a lot of time with your instrument and want to spend a lot of time with music, and that you're on a journey with that will be central to your whole life. And so that comes with a sort of sense of responsibility that you want to cultivate the right conditions for that to thrive. So that's always part of the negotiation for me, is like how to create those conditions. And phones are obviously phones, you know. Saoirse, my partner, was telling me that she saw this Prince video. I'll be paraphrasing him, but he says something like, it's obviously this interview was he was accepting some sort of award, as he often was, but he's talking about technology, and obviously this is pre-phones. This would have been in the 80s, I think. 90s. and pre-smartphones for sure. But he was just saying basically, you want to use technology, not to let technology use you, kind of thing. And I think that's quite a simple way of putting it. It's like phones are an amazing resource if it's used, if it serves you.
Yeah.
But at a time when we are very vulnerable, I think, to becoming distracted, and very vulnerable to mental health issues, and feeling alienated from ourselves, from nature, from society. We're very vulnerable, I think, to all of these things. And in that context of vulnerability, phones can be very unhelpful, because they can take you deeper into that, really. So yeah, I think it's, as with anything in life, it's how you relate to it, which defines whether it's useful in the moment or not. So I only have myself to blame.
No, but that's an interesting approach, where you're approaching it from this place of how can I create the best conditions for my music. Like, that makes complete sense, and that will of course then feed into it. I've definitely had periods where, even though I've known that, I've still gone down the hole of using my phone too much and then feeling awful the next day. I joined the library recently, which I'm very excited about.
Amazing.
And I'm not really.
I love libraries.
TV. Yeah. I just love physical books.
Yeah.
And I don't have that much storage. I moved a few years ago, and I just couldn't keep all of my physical books.
Yeah.
And I just don't enjoy reading books on a Kindle. So
no.
And I just think going back to those things that we've had, like watches and books and cassettes and Walkmans and all of these things, and just that experience of actually going to a library as well. Walking into that kind of an institution, feeling the energy of other people reading, and this whole kind of crucible of learning. I just think, yeah, I love it, man. There's a great library in Brighton, that I keep saying to myself I want to go there once a week, and I never do. But maybe it's maybe these are things that are to come when I don't have such young kids. When there's a bit more space around things, but I do. Yeah, I totally agree. Those are the experiences that we need to prioritize, I think. But like being in real life, going to a space where people are doing things together, and also, like you say, like having less stuff. Borrowing a book and reading it and then giving it back to a communal thing, rather than doing what I do, which Saoirse always takes piss out of me. I've got all these books that I've sort of half read, that sometimes I've bought for myself, but often they're gifted, and maybe again I'll get to it at some point. But yeah, what you're talking about really is a way of being, isn't it? It's a way of being in the world that feels more connected, that has more chance for chance as well, more chance for turning up and seeing a book that you didn't think you were going to encounter, and less time just on your phone, kind of digesting everything. I can't even really digest information so well from a screen, I find. So I really have to sort of vary it a lot. And yeah, that sounds great. But yeah, I think, broadly, really, in the mornings I try to just protect. I try not to look at my phone at all, really. If I can avoid it, I'll start every day. I try to start every day with some singing, and when I'm feeling well enough, then some piano, just time in the playground without any computers, with all my equipment off, and then maybe at late morning I'll look at my phone, and then then the rest of the day's over. That sounds like the name of a song. Playground. That's a nice way to think about it.
I think it's a really freeing and an important notion as music makers, to be in a place where you're just messing around, where it's free from judgment and free from expectation and results, and you're just spending time with something that is as innately yours as anything else is in the world. It's like this is your playground just to explore, which is so important in a culture where it's often not the case. There's often lots of expectations that we're piling on ourselves, or that we've inherited from the world around us, or the way that we were educated. Lots of things that you have to unlearn, and I think one of the ways that we unlearn is by just playing.
Absolutely. And do you feel like with the practices that you have and the discipline you have, I was going to ask also about your, you have you have beautiful family and you have your work and playing and producing. Like, how do you balance all of that? Approach it?
Yeah, it's kind of, often I feel like I'm it's a long arc. You're just sort of in it for a while and you're not quite sure how you're holding all these things together. But I suppose, yeah, having a routine when I'm in the studio phase, when I'm not touring and stuff, having a routine helps with that, because it means because I really still feel the need to develop as a musician, so I can only do that if I have that playground time. And I try to have that in the mornings before everything else kicks in, because I do have a lot of other responsibilities to my family, but also to my music making, to projects that are already ongoing, that involve my other sides of my work, that away from instruments, that involve computers and producing and mixing and other types of music making. And I often will do that more like in the afternoon. But I've found as we've had more kids and they're getting older, and there's like the level of needs diversifies and becomes more complex. I feel like my cycles are a little bit slower. It's like I'm working on multiple things at the same time, over a longer period of time, but then sometimes many of those things come to fruition at a similar point, and there'll be, I don't know, I haven't quite worked it out, but kind of, in that, in the moment, there's like 3 or 4 or 5 different projects that are in my mind, and I'm trying to keep organized, and in and around family life, and also trying to maintain my playground time and like learning. But in all honesty, it's like there's a lot of longing involved in all of that, because I wish I had 3 of myself. I kind of feel like I'm scratching the surface sometimes of a lot of these things. But that's why. But I also think I find myself in a particular position in music making where it is at the meeting point of a lot of different disciplines.
Right.
Being an instrumentalist, but also being a composer and being a producer and being a collaborator and being part of a community. And all of these things take time and nurturing and holding in different ways. And so that is my particular place, I think. And so there are sort of particularly, I don't know, there's certain kind of cathartic moments that happen where I feel like all these things come together in making a record or in presenting a show where you're working with a band and you're playing your music and you're able to perform and kind of dig a bit deeper into all of those things. I still feel like I'm right at the start. I haven't done that many shows as the Vernon Spring, but I've had a taste of what that feels like, and in those moments it does feel like all of this world that you're trying to hold together has a centralized way of communicating itself through this medium, whether it's like a show or a piece of music. But yeah, in leading into those moments, often it is just a bit chaotic, and you're trying to keep everything, you're trying to juggle everything.
And probably, and it probably maybe adds to the whole thing, because I don't think there's ever a perfect amount of time, when people are doing so many things at the same time. But and then I was curious, with your playground time, is that when you created your album, or is that at a separate time?
Well, they often overlap. That's the thing. I'll be starting my day and I'll just be playing piano. All of my records do start with the piano, really, or the vast majority of them. And yeah, I'll be in the playground, I'll be messing around, or just, trying to get better at playing a scale. And, then something will happen. It'll be like, I'll feel something, I suppose. You feel something, that feels nice, or that's you're drawn to something and what's happening all of a sudden, and then before you know it, you're writing something, and then before you know it, you're recording something, and before you know it, you're no longer at the piano, you're looking at a computer screen, and you're kind of structuring that recording, and that's often the way it is. You're kind of just going with what happens, and yeah, that's often how it happens for me. And it's been in different at different times. Like with my first album, A Plane Over Woods, it was a very fast process in the end. I think I was collecting things for a while, but then actually the way that those things were recorded and completed was very in the moment. Right. Often I was writing, like for instance, the title track, A Plane Over Woods. I remember that was written in the first pandemic, but it was written in my studio, and I think I was practicing scales, and the beginning of that piece is a scale. It's like da, da, da. It's going up a major scale.
Oh yeah.
And so I was probably practicing E flat major scale, and then I don't know. I heard a chord, and that led on to one thing, and then I remember writing that whole piece in the morning, and then recording it that same morning, and then mixing it in the afternoon, and then it was.
Wow.
That's what's on the album. And that's changed now a lot. Like these days, like with this new album that I've just released, it was much more episodic in the way that I worked on it, and like more layers of production, which involved more in-depth mixing process and stuff. So yeah, it's evolved. But yeah, in both senses, it starts with the piano when I'm in that. Yeah, sort of trying to protect the playground.
I love of all the albums, that this recent album that I came to see you play at King's Place, and I've been listening to it as well. I just love the way it opens. It just takes you into this other world straight away.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful. And I saw today you're playing at Queen Elizabeth Hall.
I know. Yeah, I can't believe
exciting.
It. I mean, I really can't believe it. I really didn't see that coming so soon in this, this period where I've started to do shows really for the first time with the Vernon Spring. Going back to my upbringing with my dad and my mum, but a lot of my musical education came from my dad's interest in passion for music, and we often went to the South Bank. When I was a kid, we'd go to see the jazz festival or go and see classical concerts there, and it's really one of these places that I kind of has a sense of reverence for me. Like I go there, I've definitely many times thought, oh man, I don't know if I'll ever play there, kind of thing. And
yeah,
so it is a bit of a milestone for me to get to that point, be doing it. I still don't quite believe it, to be honest. It's really great.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you played with so many incredible musicians, Amy Winehouse and so many other, and you've produced with other artists. Are there any, I mean, it's such a difficult question. What were some of the kind of key things that you learned from that process of working with other musicians? And to end, like, is there any musical style or musician that you would still love to work with?
Oh yeah. Definitely. I mean, yeah, speaking broadly, I feel very fortunate to have had the journey that I've had in music. I'm 39 now. I'm no spring chicken, but I guess I'm somewhere, I'm in the middle of my life. But from a pretty young age was exposed to lots of different types of collaborations. And when I was growing up, I was always used to being the young one, like this kid. This kid in the crew. And I was really lucky to have like older role models all the time, and people I was learning from all the time. Like, before I started working fully, like professionally, I had amazing examples growing up in London of, people who were a decade older than me, but who were so inspiring. But yeah, then in terms of people I've collaborated with, I feel so fortunate to have been on this path where I've always been working on my own music, but then I've also always been working as a pianist and a collaborator. Firstly, like mostly as a pianist, but then gradually as a co-producer and or producer and mixing as part of production and stuff. And you always learn something, you know, from entering somebody else's universe. And I also, there's something so beautiful about being at the service of somebody else's music. And there's something so moving about them wanting you to be part of their music making, you know. But yeah, it's also opened me into so many different worlds, you know, obviously like with Amy, but then Kano, like working in grime and hip hop, and having one of the things I always love about that is that, you know, you're on the tour bus and everyone's playing music. You're learning so much just from being in that culture and immersing yourself in these different worlds. And as someone who's always had very relatively broad interests in music, I've always loved, you know, as a kid I loved Wu-Tang Clan and Mos Def, and I've always loved hip hop and pop music, like great pop music I've always loved, you know, with Brian Wilson dying recently, even listening a bit more to Beach Boys again, and just you know, that was really part of my education from my dad as well, like Motown and like incredible pop music, and the sound of that, the energy of that, the feeling of that, how that music is put together has always fascinated me. So being able to be part of that as a musician and you know, exposed to pop culture as well as jazz, as well as, you know, sometimes I've done some pseudo classical things which have been the most frightening experiences because I'm not into notation. I literally it's not for me, man. I literally just getting through those shows and hoping that I don't faint, basically. It's just I'm no good at it. I'm really not. It's not for me. I'm furthest away from my it's not even being out of your comfort zone, it's actually just not what my calling is.
I have the same.
I'm not good at it.
Just having stuff written down. I've had lyrics written down before in concerts, and it's like my brain and my voice just don't catch up. I can't. It's just
I'm so far away from being able to be useful. I feel I'm just getting through and hoping that I don't completely. But even those experiences, you learn from in so many different ways. Even just as a human being, you know, being in different social environments and having to kind of navigate different dynamics and all of that kind of thing. And also starting a community of musicians and being on so many different sides of things, running a small record label, but being signed, understanding what it means to be on the other side of that. And I don't know, so many different things I'm grateful for. But yeah, I'm not sure I've given like some particularly interesting anecdotes. So there probably could have been good anecdotes to share, but it's been great to sort of have this, to be getting to this point now where I'm majoritively, or whatever the word is, most of the time I'm focusing on my own music these days, but also my own music or the music of my community, so which feels like my own music in a way. You know, it's like it feels like there's a group of us and we're working on music together, and sometimes it's by myself, sometimes it's, you know, working on one of their songs, but you know, it all feels like part of the same thing to me. But that's only really relatively recently, and I'm still get asked to do things through, you know, long-standing relationships that I have that I love to do, where I am sort of brought in either as a co-producer or as a musician, and I still, you know, love to be asked and to do that, but I suppose I'm more selective with what that is now. And anyway, I feel like I'm sort of I don't know, bumbling a bit now. So
no, that's all right. That's fine. No, it was.
And your final question was who? Yeah, I mean, there's people I'd love to work with. I'm always kind of drawn to. I don't know if I want to say. I'm the sort of person where I kind of feel like I'm going to jinx it if I say it. So, but I'm just going to say that there are people that I definitely.
There are. Okay, yeah, no, don't jinx it. Don't
give me a call. So if you're watching and you think it might be you, please just call me up.
Just telepathically, just tune in to Sam.
I mean, there's
just send it out. Send it out.
There's so many people making amazing music in the world, you know, and I love collaborating. But yeah, I hope that continues. Yeah,
I'm sure it will.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So lovely to talk to you and find out more about your process and your journey. And I look forward to seeing you at the Queen Elizabeth Hall as well.
Oh, bless you.
I nearly bought my ticket straight away.
Oh.
And are there any other concerts that you've got coming up?
Well, one with you, obviously.
Oh yeah. This one. Yeah.
17th of July in Brighton. I don't know when you're airing this podcast, probably after that point. But I'm starting a residency in Brighton once a season. So one in summer, one in autumn. Yeah, quarterly basically. So if you're ever in Brighton, if you know, that will be happening. And it's nice to be starting something in Brighton as it's my relatively new hometown. And I hope it will be a way that of building more of a community here as well. And yeah, then there's more touring happening. I'm going to Japan for 5 shows in the autumn, and then around this Queen Elizabeth Hall date, there's some other European dates. So yeah, I'm just, every time a new gig comes in, I'm so happy.
Oh, amazing.
I'm really like, yeah, it's a dream come true to be doing regular shows of this music and being able to have the opportunity to go deeper into it. It really is an opportunity that I'm so grateful for and hope to make the most of. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. We'll definitely have to have another chat, and good luck with the rest of your live shows and albums moving forward.
Thank you. Thanks for asking me to do this.
Take care.
If you're looking to develop your voice and understanding of North Indian vocal music, then I'm really excited to have released a new self-paced course, which is now available on the link below. The course has over 5.5 hours of classes exploring Indian voice culture, introduction to time cycles and ragas, as well as a whole class exploring vocal patterns and the opportunities to practice with it. And if you've already started your journey and you're looking to be part of an incredible community of like-minded learners, as well as learning from me, then have a look at Swaranjali, my Indian vocal music school membership program, where I teach over 30 live classes a year, in addition to exercise classes and access to in-person retreats and immersions. If you have any questions, please send me an email at hello@ranjanaghatak.com or send me a direct message on Instagram. Thank you so much, and I look forward to speaking to you.